Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a little late. How are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing good.
What's new?
Uh, I guess I'm using my regular microphone, like the Yeti Y, right now. But I bought something called the Shure SM58, which is like a very popular like microphone that's used like for a variety of uses. And it has a very classic look. It's like the handheld grip with the silver ball, metallic ball on top. And those things are only like $100. That microphone. But what I've been learning because I bought that microphone. I bought like a desk arm to like hold it, and then I bought a cable that goes directly from the microphone to USB. And then I learned that USB doesn't have enough power to register the signal for that microphone, so I had to buy another like $100 box called like an audio interface. A popular one is called like the Scarlett, and it's like this red box, and it provides like phantom power, and it sits between the microphone and the computer. Uh, and but all of that process of just kind of picking up this microphone that people said like it's weird. It's like, oh, it's $100 and it's like the most used microphone for like stage performance and anything. And I was like, that's a pretty cheap price, and it's good all around, and people say it has a good like pop filtering built in. And but I even bought like a little puff ball that goes on top of it. uh so I was piecing all of that together. I was like, why is it like so cheap and so robust? Uh and then I sort of learned that, oh, you need it's a microphone that, since it's not a USB microphone, you have to sort of have this intermediate box, which people
Uh,
say. It's been interesting learning like effectively the intermediate box is just like a better sound card that can register like a much like lower signal. And I haven't verified this, but the thing I've been like telling people and thinking is that this microphone, in my opinion, it has like a very low like stimulus response, which just means like you can sort of like it doesn't register like background noise, and the signal that it outputs is very low, meaning that like not much like dirt gets in the signal. But then you
hmm.
do have to have like something with the ability to like amplify that signal so the computer can pick it up. Uh, and then I was thinking though, like, why not just have it be more sensitive? But then the obvious thing is true, which is like, I guess like USB microphones that run off USB, they are more sensitive and they emit like a larger signal that computers can deal with naturally with their regular sound equipment. But by being more sensitive, you just pick up more noise inherently. So it sort of seems true that like even the best designed USB microphone can never be optimal because it needs to be more sensitive to run off the power constraints. But if you have the ability to have phantom power, your microphone can just be designed to pick up like way less, and then like specialized equipment can detect that signal and amplify it as needed, and then you have a much cleaner like natural signal than you could obtain before. I'm sure there's not like much, especially the way I configure stuff, and I have like a pretty noisy environment, no sound insulation around me. There's probably not much difference. But hopefully, if I, it is kind of like a pain to set up the extra boxes and stuff. So maybe if I ever, when I record my next song, I'll probably set it up, and hopefully without like with after the setup, without thinking about it, I'll be able to just kind of like record a much stronger signal that is more clear, can be mixed easier, and have less background noise and less pop noise. And that'll be nice because usually I feel like my microphone is like set up quite fragile, and I have to sort of be like careful to get a clean signal. And even then, I wonder a little bit about sometimes like the loudness of my voice compared to the beat in certain headphones seems like still a bit quiet, and I wonder like how could it be louder? But maybe it is like the cleanliness of the signal or something could be improved, and then it would just, the final product would come out better or something.
Yeah. Seems like, yeah, speaking with like high volume, like that's where like a much better microphone would show a difference.
Mm.
Um, but it's very interesting. I haven't thought about I don't know, sound
Yeah,
signals
so
and
yeah,
kind of stuff for a long time.
it's so
So
yeah. And I feel like there's no way I could learn this without just like pulling up a YouTube video, seeing this microphone, being like, well, that sounds cool. It's the most used microphone. Just like immediately buying it and being like, $100, I'll buy that. And then piecing together like, okay, what do I actually need to do to like use this microphone? And then in the process, it's like, it sort of feels like it's obviously I'm paying money for these things and I bought at least one cable that I can't use. Uh, but it feels like it's like effort free learning where it's just like I'm just like doing whatever needs to be done to get the result, and then in the end the learning is just like whatever I had to do. I don't have to try to anticipate, like try to do research, which research takes a lot of time and is like finicky, and you never really know for sure until you like buy all the stuff anyway. So it's kind of fun to just go through the process of like, maybe that is I'm listening to a podcast a lot recently called If Books Could Kill, and they review like lousy like self-help books or like gimmicky self-help books, and there's a lot of popular, like there's so many popular self-help books that the podcast has a lot of like books that I've heard of, and they kind of go through in detail like what's exactly problematic, and they usually distill it down to like there's one sentence of advice and they expanded that into a book and threw in a lot of extra like weird stuff.
It can usually just be like 5 pages max.
Yeah. But so now whenever, like as I just said, it's fun to like go through a learning process by like, just like a means to an end, like trying to accomplish a task and buying stuff to like accomplish that task and having that be like the learning. I feel like there's a self-help book that could be written about that. Just like the consumerism approach to learning or something.
Trial and error. Yeah, I'm very much a sort of trial and error type learner, or I don't know, experiential learner, I guess. Like I feel like I did a similar thing with when I was like streaming and YouTubing chess content for like a month and a half earlier this year. I had a very similar approach where I was just like, okay, I just like bought like the cheapest microphone possible, and then just like slowly iterated on my setup and like the Twitch and everything. And it's not like the end place was good, but it was fun to like look from like where I started to where it ended, even in just a pretty short time, and be like, okay, there was improvement. Just like all sorts of tiny things that you just kind of can't think of until you do it, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like I guess that's what we're kind of doing with game development as well. Like we attempt to make games and then we hit roadblocks and we solve those, we solve them or we don't, or the final product of the game kind of puts a checkpoint in what did we learn.
Right. Yeah, I think like I certainly have this problem. I don't know if you do or to what extent, but like it's like the sort of, I don't know, like engineer fascination problem where it's like when I hit a roadblock, then I like spend too much time trying to like figure out how to like surpass it, instead of like maybe the best option is just to go around it and like not do that thing. If that makes sense. But
yeah, I do find that as well. Yeah, at one point I was really consciously trying to like put something, encapsulate it, put it off to the side in my head and move on to something else and sort of work around it, like assume that it would be completed in the future and just assume that it's like have the placeholder art and just do the other things first and then come back to the art. But if I don't make it very conscious, then I do like work very linearly. And if I get stuck on something, or sometimes it feels like there's a case where like two things depend on each other, and that's like an unsolvable thing for me. Yeah, I'm trying to remember where that. I kind of ran into that a bit with like, it's like, do I write the script for a video and record the audio, but then the video, like, what if I can't sync the video with the audio? But like in a tutorial, what if I like do all the video cutting first, then the audio has to sync to it? And it's like, do I record the audio? And so then there's like a couple of videos was like, oh, I have to do like a freeze frame here and here and here, and like 20 different freeze frames to like extend the video portion to make the audio have enough time. Or like there's just like a silent moment where I'm not saying anything and like a thing is playing out on video. And it was sort of
Yeah.
like, is there, yeah, it's like one cannot be done first, but basically as I got better at it, I just could predict better what kind of audio or video I needed in advance to minimize that. But there was no like, yeah, when I start the project, it's sort of like, it's like, well, I have an idea of what I want to write and I have footage, but then, yeah, trying to organize like what order to do that stuff in and like kind of assume that if I take a video clip, I can just make something to say about it later. It's hard to do that without like just kind of switching back and forth.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I felt very similar. Like where it was like anytime I tried to make a video, it was like uh I always felt in retrospect like, oh, I did everything in the wrong order. Like
Mhm.
and even like yeah, I don't know. I felt like yeah, by the end of I feel like I had like a few weeks of just like trying to learn video editing, like I don't know, DaVinci Resolve or whatever.
Yeah.
And like did a few videos, and then I learned very quickly that like I just it drives me crazy. Like it's just like not the thing for me. Like it's sort of like
Right.
yeah, detailed like figuring out the cutoff points of everything and yeah, it's like I have like a small phobia of like I can't do like coloring books, for instance, where it's like
Mhm.
you need to color like right on like in between the lines and like not step over. It's just like a very visceral sort of uh, like I just can't do it, or like cutting like right on a dotted line type of thing. Um, and I feel like that activated like the same sort of response of just like fiddling with uh yeah, the cutoff points for video for scene transitions and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm I feel like I'm able to do some of that stuff. Maybe I'm more on the side of like it sometimes it is like pleasing to me to like fill in make things. Yeah, like if it's like making that cut and having that timing be good and the cut be and like the color be in the line, like that's like oddly satisfying to me when I do it. So I get a little bit of like a return by engaging in it. But
mhm.
then I guess for me it's more of like a time sink. Like now I know how long editing takes no matter what you do. And so then there's just like a certain amount of time that I don't want to sit down and do like a 3 hour like editing job and be like sweating at the computer uh and like having bad posture and stuff.
Right.
So I feel like the way I cope with that is like cheapening the value of the content. Like uh now I just want to make like worse cut videos. Like I feel like I've made at least one like well cut video and that kind of proves to me like I'm capable of it if needed, but then I can make the conscious decision now to just make it bad to save time and then
Uh-huh.
and then at least I know it's not like the peak of my skill. It's just like a decision to like save time and hopefully that also makes like a little bit of a statement to the people that watch it that like it lowers the bar where they now feel more like it's not like a flawless thing. Hopefully it
Right.
invites them to create their own thing because if they get benefit from it, they're like, hey, there's things that can be beneficial that are pretty cheap and obviously not perfect. And I would like to like see more stuff like that day to day when I consume content, just so I feel more like there isn't as much mystery that I have to solve to get to a level where things are presentable or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it is like such a fun option. Like even if, making something for like not that very many eyes or friends or family, like stuff like that can be so rewarding. Um and just like fun for everybody involved and like not that difficult. Um and like meaningful. Like if done with that intention. Like I feel like the thinking about those the what's it called, the Doc Lightning 3-minute videos, like those are beautiful, like, and they're of varying production quality, but for the most
Yeah.
part pretty, anybody could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good event, Doc Lightning. It's been I missed actually some news with MinMax. Like I saw people talking about Ben having another just because you bring up MinMax. I guess we're kind of switching to topic. Uh, but like is Ben having another kid and therefore going on parental leave soon? I missed probably like the one episode
uh
where they covered that or something.
yeah, I'm behind. Yeah, I haven't listened to, but I think, I think that's
Yeah.
correct. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just saw people I followed like the suggestions channel on the Discord and people were mentioning it.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
Also, I bought the game Baby Steps. I think I'm gonna play that game.
Oh, nice. Yeah, tell
But
me how you feel about it.
yeah, yes, I haven't booted it up or anything, but I know a lot. Like I listened to the MinMax episode where they were talking about it, so I know some like key moments and what to expect. But my position is getting over it was like an amazing game to me.
Hmm.
Like it was very much in the realm of like this is engaging like the like physical mental challenge that I'm looking for, and I really liked the audio in the game, that the clips that play where it sort of feels like this person that made this game has a connection with you because they also like hard things and failing and
Uh-huh.
like the joy of having that runway in front of you, and there it felt like they were in it with you, like they were sort of trying to communicate and like acknowledge what you might be feeling in the moment. uh and I thought it was interesting. One of my friends perceived like they heard that audio and they perceived it as like condescending, like sort of like mocking you a little bit by like because they'd say
Oh,
stuff like,
interesting.
oh, like yeah, they'd be like, oh, you fell, that's too bad. And in my mind it was like, yeah, this guy gets it, like it's a upsetting thing, but they made the game that way. And I was like, it's calling it out where it's like the game is not just doing that to run out the clock. It's like this game is very particularly designed, and you did fall, and so then like what are you supposed to say, right? Like, oh, you can't like be a professional actor that really conveys exactly, but I could give the like Bennett Foddy the benefit of the doubt that he was sort of being like, I want to make the player feel like I'm, there with them having fallen, and be like, oh, that's too bad, but like you'll get it next time or whatever. Uh,
Right.
but it was so that was interesting that like, but now I don't know what to make of this second game because it does seem to be, it's probably like the challenge that I'm looking for. Like it's the same thing where you can fall way down and you have, I think at one point you can choose an easy route or a hard route and there's no, difference. The game's not going to like reward you for the hard route. It's just your own challenge. But then there's
Hmm.
all these extra pieces, which is like, it's something about like the game somehow is commenting on like not toxic masculinity but like the brute-headedness, meat-headedness of like masculinity, where they don't want to take help or advice from anyone. They just want to push
Yeah.
forward. And so that's one aspect. Then the other one is like the character, like in games I often I get confused, like am I supposed to be the character, like cosplaying as like a 35-year-old out of shape person who's never walked before and like
Yeah.
is kind of like blockheaded and set in their ways. And like this game is not going to teach me not to be that person because I know I don't want to be that person. Like but then the problem is like then there's a whole weird thing about nudity, which I have no idea what's going on there. Like I've seen some screenshots
Hmm.
that are like, it's like, oh, like so there's just like crazy like masculine nudity in the game. I guess like is that supposed to make me also uncomfortable just like the rest of the game, but teach me
If
that
it's a
like it's
narrative,
oh
yeah.
yeah. But then I was sort of along that line of thinking. I was like, well, why doesn't the game just play a really loud, annoying noise at random times? Like, why? Because that's hard too. So shouldn't that be in there? But it's not because it would make the game worse. But I would argue that like some things do make the game worse when it should be really about the bond of the player, the controls, the Benefati. But I'm sure he's like up to something. He's got some kind of message that's worth it. So that's why I'm kind of ultimately I'll play it to like go on the journey that hopefully he wants me to go on. But it is confusing to me because I guess ultimately too it's like, but I'm going to beat this game. Like that's what I sort of know. Like I'll probably stick with it until I beat it. And so
Hmm.
I will do the hard thing and overcome it and it will be worth it. But that's not the message, surely, because I should like the whole game is about not like why take the hard way? Why ignore the advice? Why be like so oddly determined and self like like masochist, I guess, like self masochist or something, like harming
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
to like in pursuit of some arbitrary thing for masculine pride. But it's like, but I mean, I'm paying for that opportunity to do that in the game, and I am neglecting other things in my life to play this game, and I am going to enjoy it, and then have like, oh, I did it in the end, and it's going to be worth it. So what is the like?
Uh-huh.
It's a self contradictory. Like as far as I can guess, it's just self contradictory. Uh, and I don't know, maybe somehow like after making the first game and then Bennett Foddy realizing like you can make a really punishing game that's intended to teach people don't do arbitrary punishment for no reason, and then they'll just start speedrunning it. And so like
Yeah.
I guess it's like what do you do then? I guess you have to make a game that really puts it in their face being like you should not be doing this, and knowing that like they're gonna do it anyway. And it's like, well, at least I'll educate them about the problematic behavior that they're exhibiting as they do that behavior and pay me for it. Like, I guess that's maybe that's what it's like. But it's like, I would just don't make a game. And I wouldn't, I guess, like, there's only two games that, like, I guess there's other things mimicking maybe that's what it is other people were mimicking, like, that game Sisyphus, like, pushing the stone up the hill. I never played that. But there's games for the sake of like just being punished that exist probably because of Bennett Foddy, and maybe he's trying to like set the tone once again and be like, you know what, uh, let's make games that aren't as like. But then there's the whole Dark Souls thing, and that's like
Yeah.
a whole genre in its own self of yeah. And I guess I'm drawing a pair. I'll draw a parallel here between like the weird, the nudity, the masculinity, the weird main character in the game Baby Steps, which I feel should be about like challenge in a more pure way and not have these other things. And in parallel, I feel the same way about Dark Souls, where you lose to a boss. Like the whole point is like grind on the game to beat the boss. Like transform yourself as you need to beat a boss, but also wait for a loading screen like after every failed attempt. And to me, that's the same thing as like it's like walk up the mountain, but look at a bunch of nudity for no reason and be a like have be embodying a weird character, uh, and have these weird sense of humor in the game. And it's sort
Hmm.
of like to me that's like the same as like a loading screen where it's like to me it's like they've done it, they've made the pure essence of like a game. It's now just like player versus environment, and it can be like it's like done well in so many ways. Like I'm sure like the controls are appropriately like punishing in Baby Steps, but like you can master them in a satisfying way. uh and so then yeah, but it's the same thing of like how could someone be so driven and focused to like make that but then wrap it in such a weird wrapping, like it almost feels like it's like what is going on there, exactly, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played Getting Over It, or yeah, so I really I feel like I only know very secondhand like what the feel of the themes could be. My soft assumption just from like watching, I think I saw like a trailer for it, was that it like the themes uh, like involve depression and like getting through that, but I could be totally off base. But yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things where enough people think that it's good. Like I guess it seems like it's been polarizing, but I think it was like maybe I mean, yeah, Min-Max is kind of like the only like
Mm-hmm.
game show I like mostly keep up with, so it's like the main source of like opinions I hear on games. But I think it was like Jeffem that had like a long sort of talking about really liking it and connecting with it, and so it's like I feel like there's enough people whose opinions I often agree with that uh, like it, where I'm like, there's probably something here um, that's like worth exploring. But yeah, I really, yeah, I'm really interested to see like what you think about it and if it lands or not. Um, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Hades 2 the past like few days, and just like totally loving it. But I'm like getting like sort of near the end, and I just came across like the headline of an aftermath. The website Aftermath.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to
Um,
that podcast. That actually is another
okay.
one that talked about baby steps. Yeah. I like their
Oh,
podcast.
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't listen to their podcast, but I do actually listen. They have like a comic book podcast about the comic book 52 that I love.
Yeah, I
That's
wasn't
how
sure. I subscribed to their Patreon, got that podcast, but it was out of context for me and I couldn't really make sense for what were they talking about in that podcast.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like I feel like you just have to start from the very beginning and then like
Yeah.
read the comic book along with them. And yeah, it was like
Mm.
the thing that sort of got me into comic books pretty much like last year.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I came across this headline that was basically because one of the things with Hades 2 is just like, everything about it to me is like just like unbelievable. The artistry and the music and the voice acting, just
Mm.
everything, in the gameplay. And then like, but I was like, I am so curious what they're going to do with this story at the end, because I'm like, I don't know how they're going to resolve this satisfyingly.
Mm.
But like I have trust because like Hades 1 I really, hit for me, and from what I've heard the previous games, they've done had great stories. But yeah, just from the title of this headline, it was basically like uh, the ending, isn't very satisfying. And I think
Mm.
just with that knowledge alone, I'm just like, oh, like I'm just like so much less excited to finish this game now. And I'm like, yeah, like, because yeah, it's just it's such an interesting like narrative knot for like roguelikes, of this narrative sort of roguelikes where it's like it's built into the structure of the game or the narrative of the game, like the repeating the runs. But then it's like, oh, when you do finish the story, like how
Mm.
does that affect? But presumably people want to keep playing the game, or doing like harder and harder challenges if they're into that. But then it like, how do all these characters relate to that if like you've sort of completed the narrative arc? And I was just so interested in that, like how they were going to do that. And basically, I don't know, from the headline seems like not so well. So that's a bummer. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting. I guess it'd be interesting to go through all that and then see, like, maybe it's just not possible to tie it all together, like, because that would be an interesting exercise for yourself to go through, is like, can you tie it together? Like, could you have written any possible ending that would be more satisfying to yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Or
then,
maybe
yeah, it's
it'll
kind
hit
of like,
different for me,
yeah,
or but
yeah,
yeah, I think I am, definitely going to see it through because I'm just like I'm kind of close at this point. But
mm.
um, yeah, yeah. I'm hoping it's, I don't know. There's at least a possibility for other interpretations, or yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So you're headed out
Yeah, I should drop.
early.
There's a
Yeah,
friend coming over, so
yeah.
shortly. But
I'll post a link that you can check out later. I made a simple game in a browser. It's I just called it Arrow. It's a game that I made a iOS app for like many years ago, and it's just it's like a pattern game where when you start typing like there's 4 directions. When you start typing the pattern, the arrows are hidden, so you have to memorize the pattern. And then I put in a little thing where you can like if you get your high score, you can share it by it appends like query parameters to the URL, and if someone else opens your share link, it'll show them like your uh how far you got, and then they can try to like kind of beat your
Oh,
record.
that's sweet. That's such a cool
Yeah,
idea.
it's yeah.
I
Yeah, I'd
love
like to
this
make
little
more
prompt.
things like that.
Sorry, what
The
were you
little
saying?
what?
I was
Oh, the
saying I
little
love
prompt,
this
yeah.
little prompt. Yeah, it's so evocative. We follow the directions before us as long as we can, and eventually only ourselves remain.
Yeah, that was
Excellent.
something I thought of like while making the game. Uh yeah, and I like to throw in little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, have a good time evening then.
Yeah, you as well. Yeah, likely see you next week.
Yeah. All right. Bye.